All right, everybody, welcome. And today I am talking to not the one time, not the two time, not the three or four time, the five-time Gold Standard Gecko Club champion, Tara Lee's, Cresties. Tara, I've seen your animals for a very long time and I have admired them. I've bought a lot of your animals and I'm excited to talk to you today. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Tara from Tara Lee's Cresties. Um,
Yeah,
I've been doing this since 2012,
nice.
and yeah, I don't know what else you want.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So before we get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. We have ZoomEd. ZoomEd is by far one of the most popular and reliable sponsors and reptile product manufacturers that are based in the USA. So they're not some, you know, things that you import from a different country. They're actually made here in America, and we support that. We love ZoomEd. Next thing is Pangea. Pangea clearly doesn't need doesn't need me to promote them. They have probably one of the best gecko foods. I will say, definitely one of the best. Either that, and there's a couple other out there that are good, but Pangea's top notch.
I use
Um,
Pangea.
yeah, I use Pangea as well,
Mhm.
obviously. And of course, PalmStreet. PalmStreet has been awesome with us. Tara can attest, PalmStreet has been a great new tool to sell geckos and just to interact with your
Yeah,
customers
definitely.
and your people, and it feels so natural and so awesome. So if you haven't jumped on PalmStreet, I highly suggest you do so because PalmStreet is just honestly, it's like my favorite social media. I'm not gonna lie, because on YouTube I'll make videos, but there's not really like a back and forth. On Palm Street, it's like a constant back and forth. What do you think?
I love Palm Street in that way, but Jim has to read all the comments because I'm so busy trying to
Oh
auction stuff
yeah,
off. I can't. But he'll tell me the important stuff when it comes up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot of fun.
But it is
Okay,
fun. I just want to tell you a story real quick. So
yeah. Go ahead.
when we went to Flora we were
Yeah,
staying at the what is it called? The man? What's it called?
the Manor
Manor.
House.
I was going to say the mansion, whatever. It's like a mansion. Anyway, we were staying at the manor, and Aaron from Gabby's store comes
Yeah,
walking up the stairs, and he's like, "Oh, hi, I'm Aaron." I said, "We've met before. I know you." And I'm like, "Oh, wait. Oh no, we haven't ever met. I know you from
yeah,
being on Palm Street. Like it's nice because you get to kind of like I don't know people's personalities and
yeah,
what they look like, and you get to interact with them, and you feel like you already know them when you meet them. It is.
yeah.
It's neat.
It's so funny because Tara, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink at all. But the other, I want to say like two Palm Streets ago for me, it was like a late night Palm Street. I just said, let's just hop on, whatever. Let's just have some. I took a bottle of whiskey because there was only a little bit, and I started just drinking, having fun, talking to everybody. And next thing you know, I got drunk, and I before that had been drunk in like I swear like probably like 2 years. I don't even drink at all. So it was wild. It was a lot of fun, anyways. Um, I wanted to ask you, Tara, do you remember the first time that you ever laid eyes on a crested gecko? Can you recall that moment?
Actually, I can.
Why don't you tell us?
So the funny part was, um, long story short, I was doing some research for a bearded dragon. My son wanted a bearded dragon. Then my other son wanted a leopard gecko. And in the meantime, I saw crested geckos online. I was
Yeah,
interested in the crested geckos, and I thought they really looked interesting. And anyway, so I didn't have access to them, and I didn't go to shows. I didn't do anything. I ended up buying one online as a baby. And that
yeah,
was my first time. I got it in a box. I had no idea how fast they were. I didn't.
yeah.
And I was scared to touch it. I was scared like that
Really?
to let open up the thing. Yeah, I was scared that she was going to get away. So anyway, I
Yeah.
opened up the little cup and I let her in her cage. And she ended up being wild because I never handled her much, but I just would like look at her and feed her and take care of her. And like I was like, it was so ridiculous looking back, like how afraid I was going to lose her. I don't
But
like
that's
fast moving things.
yeah, I know. Most people don't. Most people have that inclination to just like that just bugs them out. Like I get that all the time, especially I mean living here in Florida, we have the knolls,
Oh yeah, I
which
used to
are
catch
just
them.
Yeah, so they're everywhere, and whenever somebody sees my geckos for the first time, they instantly think they're gonna be like that quick, and they just get
Yep.
bugged out. And I'm like, I mean, they can be quick, but not a null quick.
Not like that. They're like
Y-
sloppy quick.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the, like an
And most,
alligator running, like that
yeah,
sloppy.
like
Yeah.
flopping everywhere.
Uh,
But yeah, so like when people start to hold them and see that they can be tamed, especially a big adult, like an older adult, it's like it just changes the whole perspective for
mhm.
them. But yeah, so that's I always like finding out where, how people first found out about geckos or crested geckos or their
Yeah.
first experience with it. So that's funny. The first guy crested gecko you touched and you saw was basically the one you got shipped.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I've held lizards and stuff before. I used to
Yeah,
when I was like 11 or 12 or yeah, maybe 14, I got my first job at a pet store. So I've always been like around animals and things like that, but yeah, to actually a crested gecko was something new for me. I'd never seen one or held one before. So yeah,
yeah,
it was fun.
yeah. I think
Actually, the
what
funny thing is the same thing with the bearded dragon and the leopard gecko. I ordered them online. I think
really? Do you
yeah.
remember who you got them from?
One of them. So I used to subscribe to that Reptiles magazine, and
Okay.
I looked up Sandfire Dragons, and I
Oh,
think that
that's awesome.
that's who I got the first beardy from.
That's
And
awesome. What about the crested?
the crested was from
Nicole Guy.
Nicole Guy. Yeah, she was
I
from Crowned Royal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember Nicole, and actually, I still have animals that trace back to her stuff.
Oh,
So
that's
that's funny.
awesome.
I remember her. Yeah. That's awesome. That's such a blast from the past, man.
Yeah. I know.
Um, Now, what about, well, do you remember the first time walk me through the time when you thought like, okay, we could actually start breeding these geckos, and then from that to like, okay, this is actually a business that I can make happen. How was
Yeah.
that?
So originally, when we first got the leopard gecko, I was like, oh, well, maybe we can breed these. It was something that I thought that me and my boys could do. I have two sons.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it would be something like a bonding thing that we could do. But leopard geckos, they need heat. They need, they needed things and crickets and, all that stuff. So crested geckos were a lot easier.
Yeah.
So I got, the first crested gecko as a baby. And I got several of them as babies and I grew them up. Like I liked that, the whole
Yeah.
experience of getting them young and watching them grow and just seeing how, how they turn out.
And when did you make the when did you make the jump to decide, okay, I'm gonna start breeding them?
So that's what happened. So anyway, I was like, all right, crested geckos were a lot easier. It was something I could do with my boys. And anyway, I did. I bred them, and I tried. Well, the boys they got over it really quick. They were
Okay.
once the eggs hatched a couple times. They're like, yeah, we've seen that before. And then it was just me. So now
Yeah.
I had these babies, and I was like, all right, well, what am I going to do with these? And
Yeah.
that's when Pangea Forums was there,
Yeah, I
and
remember.
it starts with an F for
Flora, fauna classifieds.
fauna classifieds. Yeah. So I posted my first one for sale on that website,
For
and
those of you that don't know, fauna classifieds was basically Morph Market of back in the day.
but like really old style. Like, yeah, it was very
Uh,
retro. But anyway,
yeah.
if that back then, that's where you would sell them. So anyway, I posted one and it sold immediately. It was like
Wow.
$135, whatever. And that was great because I actually got that was how much the mom cost. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, that's pretty cool. I just got my money back for her, and I still have like eight more,
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So anyway, I did hold back a couple of them, but yeah, I sold them. So I was like, well, that was nice hobby money. And
Yeah.
I still, I mean, I know it's a business, but I work full time too. So it's still
Okay.
a hobby for us. Oh, maybe
Yeah.
still a hobby for me. Jim got roped into it.
Yeah.
It's still a hobby for me, but it's also a business, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
You're working for yourself still, but I don't like to look at it that way. It's still my hobby.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, sometimes when you turn it into a business, it could take a little bit of the fun out of it. But the hobby is, I feel like everybody that starts this breeding animals, breeding crested geckos or whatever reptile, you start because it starts as a hobby and it's a passion that grows and then
Hmm.
you see, oh, I could actually make a little bit of money doing this, and it snowballs into that.
Hmm.
So okay, so that I was actually gonna ask you if you did this full time or what's your full-time job?
So I'm a cardiac sonographer.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
uh
I do.
big girl job.
Yeah, so I do ultrasound of hearts. I've been
Yeah.
doing that for 27 years.
Wow.
And yeah. And so yeah, that's my real job. And I do
Gotcha.
work full time. And I also do geckos full time. I mean,
Yeah. Oh
I have
yeah.
my son feeds for me, and we also have one of our friends' sons that feed for us too. But
Yeah.
even with them taking some of the feeding schedule away, it's still a full time job. It's insane, really.
Oh yeah,
It's
I know. So are your boys still kind of into it somewhat? I know they
They're
might
not
not be.
into it. It's just he's just doing it for money. He's not really
Got
into them.
Gotcha. All right. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. I see a lot of people come through the reptile shows that are asking me about the geckos, and they have like a little kid with them, and then they want to get into it with them, but you could tell like it's really driven by the adult.
I
And then
wish
if
that they did. Like, I really wish
I
they
know,
rubbed off on them, but
and a few years later, I feel like I always see like the parent or whatever be like, well, he wasn't into it anymore, but I stuck around with it. So it's funny.
well, that's good that they're not just doing it for the kid and they're not into it either, because then who's
Yeah.
going to take care of it? That's how the thing is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I see a lot of that. Um,
Hmm.
now Tara, what would you say is your like strongest when we're talking about like all the morphs and the categories or whatever, which is your strongest or like your favorite morph or geckos to work with?
Everybody's going to probably say lavenders with heavy cream, but the funny thing is that
What do
just
you?
I mean, I love cream covered things.
Yeah.
But I think probably one of my favorite projects is the Dalmatians. I really love to work with the Dalmatians, and I love my Brindle Quins. I love
Brindle
my
Quins.
yeah, I
You know,
love my
you know, back in the day, that's I feel like that's what you made your name off of.
Mhm.
Remember? I feel like
Yeah.
that. I mean, at least when I remember, especially in the forum days and stuff, I remember a long time ago you got this uh citrus daughter from me. And that was that look like it's like
Uh-huh.
tigery and has pattern in the face
Yep.
and a bunch of pattern and it's at a yellow base. So
I
I
actually just
honestly,
sold her recently.
you did?
Yeah.
Wow. How old was she? Do you
Uh,
remember?
yeah, I mean, I could look it up. I think she was about 10 or 12, or maybe
Yeah,
even more, probably more.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, it's just crazy to see how time flies so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, I definitely love it's funny. I when I was thinking about this question for you, I thought you were gonna say like harlequins, like high cream harlequins,
so,
but that
but
makes
this is,
sense.
I love them all. That's the whole thing.
Of
Like,
course.
I do. I love them all. That's why I work with pretty much everything. But and the whiter the cream, the better. I like that. I like that paper white cream. I
Yeah.
do. I love high pattern harlequins, but my one of my passion projects though is probably the brindle quins and things that stem from them. I love like the phantoms that they make and the tigers that they make. And before nobody was really into those, so like I was like, you know, I always sold those, because I was like,
Yeah.
no. But now people are really into them, and I always was into them. I just didn't. But now I want to perfect things. I want to make
y-
them better. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
working on. Oh, that bold, pattern. I love
Did
that.
yeah, it's funny because the market is so cyclical. So you'll have like, nobody's into tigers. Man, when we started, tigers were like
They were
Petco geckos.
wholesale. They were
Yeah,
wholesale.
So like nobody cared, and then everybody was focused on the pinstripes and extreme
Mhm.
Harleys and stuff like that. And now it's like it's circling back to like, oh wait, because there's so much of that. Now,
Mhm.
did you see that tiger that Brian Who had in
Oh,
his
yeah.
table?
Yes, I
Amazing,
did. How
right?
could you miss it? That was like
Yeah,
the perfect tiger. It looked like a tiger. Like this,
yeah.
I was in love with that gecko.
Yeah, that was a badass gecko.
Yeah, it was
Um,
awesome.
so do you have how many like groups would you say you have of those brindle queens? Like, do
I
you have
mix
a
that.
lot?
I don't know. I wouldn't call them groups. Like I don't. I
What do you do?
probably well, I don't put them in groups. I do one. I do pairs.
1.1.
Yeah,
Okay.
1 to 1. Yep.
How many
Uh,
pairs would you say
how
do
many
you have
pairs of brindle?
brindle queen stuff?
Mm, I don't always do them every single season because I have a lot of that line already. So I try to mix it up like with other things. But probably this year, I don't know. I might have paired 3 or 4 brindle quin pairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We got to make a brindle queen category
I know.
to
I
extend.
know. I love them. I
Yeah,
love
I like them a lot too.
them.
Now, whenever you're going through geckos, either buying geckos or holding back stuff for your breeding stock, what are your like non-negotiables? Like, what must a gecko have, and if it doesn't have, it's gone.
That's a tough one because I don't. I mean, hmm, I'm. I think I'm more pattern driven. Sometimes, like sometimes a gecko like can have really nice crest structure, and I mean, I love all that stuff too. But
Of course.
structure for me seems like I can improve on that pretty easily.
Yeah,
So I would probably pick something that I like the pattern more over the structure or the body structure. I feel like I can fix that. Sometimes you can't. It
yeah,
depends. It depends. There's one line that I have that I really love the pattern, but I just don't really like their faces. They kind of you know how like sometimes it's a little bit elongated and like
yes,
even though the crest structure is nice, it's not like a nicer like triangular structure.
yeah,
And they have a little bit bulgier eyes, but the pattern on them always turns out very
yeah,
nice. So I don't breed that particular line as much, but I still
yeah.
do it once in a while because it makes some unique, very unique things.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because I do find like certain traits or lines are for whatever reason, more like they push for like either a smaller head or a more narrow head. I mean, we've seen this with like the cappuccinos and stuff,
Yeah.
and now we're starting to improve on them. But I feel like for the longest time, like you would just like every cappuccino we would see would be super narrow head, no crests, and I
Yeah.
guess some are just more in the genetics or whatever.
Yeah, probably. I
Yeah.
hope it gets
Uh,
better. I'm gonna work on it.
yeah. Do you work with any caps?
Yeah, yeah, we have a few fraps and some caps. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Now, honestly, when you talk about that, I like one of them. Whenever I picture like Tara Lee's Cresties, I think of animals that have nice head structure, that are nice crest, and the head size just like a big blocky head. Now, what you kind of touched up on it, but how many
What
generations would you say it takes for you to improve on that structure? Like from a gecko that has very minimal head structure to get them to one of your geckos. How one, two generations, three? What do you say?
it seems like one. Most
Yeah.
of the time it's one because I incubate low and slow. That's
Okay.
my motto.
What do you incubate at?
So I shoot for 68 to 72, but
Okay.
I don't have an incubator. I just do it in my basement. So
Oh,
I move them around sometimes because it depends on like so I play around with the temperatures. Like it just depends on what area of the basement is closest to the
cooler.
temperature that I need. So sometimes they're a little lower. Like sometimes they might be 66, which I don't really want. but that's,
Yeah.
I don't want the, I would rather them go 66 than 75. I don't like that. So I try to
Right.
go lower, but I do shoot for like 68 to 72 most of the time. And you know, during the summer I can usually find that exact temperature in this one closet in the basement that
Wow.
it stays that temperature all the time. So pretty much.
Wow. That's good. Yeah, that those cooler temperatures definitely
Mhm.
help the incubation. Were you gonna say something? I feel like you're about to say
Oh,
something.
I was gonna say back when you said when you think of me and what my name
Yeah.
or whatever brings to mind, everybody always comes to my table, like at the shows, and they think everything's lily whites. And I don't have any lily whites on my table most of the time. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, look at all the lily whites." I'm like, "There's no lily whites on this table, none."
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're
that
like,
could
"Yeah, it's
that
funny."
yeah, that's because of that high white, high cream.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you so you breed lily whites though, right? You said you had some fraps. You have a lot of other
We
lily
we
whites or
just
not as much?
started. Yeah, I have one lily white male that is that.
One?
Yeah, one. I have one.
Wow.
Yeah, because I bred him. I hold on. So I had one lily white male. I bred him
Okay.
last year and this year. He was my only adult. This year I do have a few other adults that I'm breeding, but he was my one and only. So last
Wow.
year I think, well, I held back everything and I only sold two, I think. I sold
Wow.
two. So
So,
I still have them. I'm just growing them up because I like to watch everything grow. I don't like to
yeah.
sell it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Jim's saying, yeah, you know how like the ratio is supposed to be like 50-50. I got like 70 every time, like I'd either get two lily whites or one lily white and a normal, or most of the time it was like 75% or more lily whites most of the time. So that was
Wow.
nice.
Good odds.
Yeah. I
Why
hope
why
it's
did
like that
why did why did you take so long to get with some lily whites?
because I felt that was a cheat code and I didn't want to cheat. I worked so hard to get all these geckos as white as possible with the most coverage. And I'm like, I don't need a lily. But now I
Yeah.
want to work with the gene. Now that I know that I can do it, like now I want to see what my geckos can do with the lily. The only problem is a lot of the lilies that I have, they're just completely covered. Like there's nothing like I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this is gonna be boring now because it's just
Yeah.
so I got
So
to kind of undo it.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
funny because I forgot who I was talking to, but the other day I was like, like when you get a full coverage lily, or I think I was talking about the gargoyles. I don't know. Anyways, a full coverage lady, they all start to look the same. So
I
it's not as
know.
fun. So there's a sweet spot. You don't want obviously too low expression, but maybe like a 75% covered or something where you can see that
Yeah,
base color because it just gives more contrast and it's more appealing to the eye.
definitely.
But so it's funny because we always like strive for like more pattern, more, but
Yep.
then when we get there, we're like, oh
Now
wait.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say that because I've actually
Mhm.
heard a couple other breeders say that as well. And I agree. It's cool and all, but then when you do it, you're like, okay, well, I actually like these better anyways.
Yeah. And now you see people trying to get that blonde look again. Remember the old blondes? They were like, yeah, with the just the black gecko with the white, like minimal white cream. And they
Yeah.
you look back now and they were awesome. Like what
Yeah.
there was like now people I'm glad that people are having those projects. Like I kind of want to do that too, but they're hard to find.
Yeah, they're hard to find. It's the
Hmm.
same thing with like a nice tiger. It's hard to find now
Yep.
because
Oh
everybody
yeah.
breeds nice stuff.
And then
But
every time I
that's
see something that's nice, it's already related to Falcon York. It goes back. And I'm trying to get lines that I don't have. You know,
yeah, yeah, good luck.
it's hard.
That's why I always say to people, everybody, like if somebody asks me for advice, I always say, forget about what's hot, forget about, this morph is selling good right now. Just work with your passion, what you like the best, because may not be hot tomorrow,
Hmm.
but the next day or the next year, whatever, it'll
Yep.
come around. It happens
Totally
every
true.
single time. It's cyclical. Yeah. So, okay. So you just got lily whites. What about sables? Have you touched on sables yet?
I have one sable that I'm growing up. I bought him as a baby. So he's
Nice.
he's like 35 grams now. So he'll be soon, soon.
Yeah. And I know you have an Axanthic. I saw you post an Axanthic.
I have a few of those. I think I have six. Do I have six Xanthics?
6 or 7, I think. Yeah.
6 or 7. Yeah, we have
She got some next growing up.
three, 4, 5. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I have six.
Okay, so 6 visuals.
6 visuals, yeah, and
Have you
one 100% het that I bought.
have you produced any Axanthics yet?
No,
Or
I haven't produced any visuals, but I have 100% hets growing up.
heads? Okay, yeah. I actually one of the females I got from you, a high white like Harlequin female. I got like maybe 2 fluorophanas ago or
I
whatever.
remember. Yeah, we made the
Okay.
trade. We made
Okay,
the
yeah,
trade
yeah,
for your
yeah.
Dalmatian
Yeah.
male.
Yeah. So that
Uh-huh.
girl, I actually paired, um, that not this season, but the previous season, I paired to an Axanthic, a visual Axanthic, because I wanted to make nicer heads, and
Mhm.
eventually I want to make really nice, just regular Harlequin Axanthics with a
That's
high
what
white. What
that's
with?
my goal. That's what
Okay,
I
well
want
there
to
you go.
do.
You'll
Oh,
probably beat me to
no,
it.
I was gonna say you're gonna beat me to it. You're already probably way ahead.
But yeah, so I'm using some of your blood to do that,
Good.
and yeah, and that's a fun project. I've seen a lot of guys in Korea that have already produced stuff like that, and it's super. They look lily whites
I
because
know.
that white is so crazy with the
Yeah, it
Axanthics.
is. Yep.
Wait until you pop out lily white Axanthics.
Oh,
Those
yeah. I'm
those are
excited.
amazing. Those are some of my favorite to hatch out.
Yeah, I'm excited. This
Yeah, because
fall.
the contrast in the white, and it just from the egg, it just like blows everything away.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Now, I want you to rate these in the level of importance of whenever you're deciding a breed. I think we already have an idea, but
Okay.
color, pattern, structure, and temperament. If you had to put these in order from 1 being the most important to 4 being the least important, what would you rate them?
I think color is number one, actually.
Okay. All
Even
right.
though even though pattern has been I've been more pattern driven, I need to bring more color into my I want to focus more on yeah, on before it was my focus was mostly cream, putting cream all over everything. But
Okay.
in doing that, I feel like I've they're not as well, they're still bright. I don't know. Like I want the color there. I want it to stay longer than, you know, until they're full grown adults and ready to breed. Sometimes it fades away. You think you have a really nice tricolor, and then the orange, it fades to like a
Yellow.
yeah,
Yeah, like a yellow.
or not even a yellow. Sometimes it's like a peach
Yeah.
or so I want the color to stay. So anyway, okay. So color I think would be probably number one. Pattern,
Okay.
structure, right? And then what was the
Yeah.
other two?
Temperament.
Oh,
It was
temperament's
temperament.
last.
Yeah.
I mean, temperament's
I,
last. I mean,
I feel the same. I feel the same. Temperament is last for me too.
and for the most part, they're all pretty, in general, they all pretty have similar personalities. I mean, every once in a while, we have probably out of the thousands that we have, we
Yeah.
probably have like 4 cages labeled crazy, like absolute crazy. Like if they get out, they're gone.
God.
You know, what I mean, like
Yeah.
yeah, like they're nuts. But yeah, other than that, usually they're pretty much I mean, one might be a little jumpier than the other, one might be calmer, but they're pretty much in general. I
Yeah.
don't have any mean ones. I've seen videos of the mean ones, like where you're
Oh, I've
kind of
had them.
yeah, I've never had anything like that, thank God.
Yeah. No, I've had a male that went from being a normal gecko, one that we could take out a handle, to just hating our guts one day, and we would walk past the cage, and he would just attack us.
Yeah,
And
I've never had that.
you put your hand in there, oh, he's going to town. He's just like ripping you up, and it's not
That's
breeding. It's not breeding behavior. It's like
right, mean,
like a
mean.
territorial stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it's just so weird because I've seen geckos that are always like that, and then I had that one gecko that just like from day to night it was just like whoa, like a complete change.
Now that one I probably wouldn't breed because I wouldn't even want it. Like, yeah, I don't care how
Yeah,
pretty it is. I'd probably like, it's got to go. I don't like anything
yeah,
biting me or being mean.
yeah. That's that's part of the appeal of Cresties, I guess. It's
Yeah.
like they're so nice and easy to handle. Um, So whenever is you say your geckos, are your geckos in the basement? That's where
I have
your
2 gecko rooms right now. We have
two.
one on our main floor, and we have a full basement. Hmm.
Okay, now walk me through your like feeding schedule. Like, how often do you feed bugs? How often do you feed bugs if you do?
Yeah,
I
we
think
feed.
I heard you say you feed Pangea. So
Yeah,
walk me through your schedule.
yeah, we feed Pangea twice a week. We do different sections at a time, so nobody's getting fed all at once,
Right.
because that would take way too long. But
Yeah.
yeah, we do Pangea twice a week, and we do crickets. We order crickets once a month, and then we feed them off. And once they're gone, they're gone. So
Okay.
yeah, because I don't like to take care of too many things at once. I got enough geckos. I don't need to take care of the bugs too.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So that's our feeding routine.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like in the past couple like months and years maybe there's been a big change in the hobby to from going from not feeding crickets at all, a lot of people, to saying, okay, well, aside from the benefits of growth and just overall how the geckos look, I
I
think
will.
there's I think there's a lot of benefit to just like let's say just what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? What's the word?
Benefits feeding bugs. I don't know what the
Um,
word is, but there is
just
definitely a
to
benefit
give them,
that.
yeah, to give them some like psychological stimulation, I
Oh, well,
guess.
that too. Yeah. That too. They already know it's cricket night. I don't know if they hear it or smell it or
Yeah.
what, but they're so
Oh my
funny.
God.
They're just like, they wait for the cricket to drop in this one spot, and like they
Yeah.
just pounce on it. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. I definitely when the crickets are in the room and I start feeding them, it's like
Hmm.
whenever I open the next cage, they already got
Oh
that
yeah.
reaction. It's
Yep.
crazy
Yeah.
because
And
they don't do
sometimes
that for food.
and sometimes we have the clutch mates together, and they'll bite the clutch mate. I'm like, get off of him, your
Oh
cricket's
yeah.
coming. Or they want the same one that's in the clutch mate's mouth.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I know all about that. Now, what is there anything that you're excited to work with in
Oh my
like,
God. There's so many things I'm excited about. Well, I'm always
yeah,
excited about every project that I have because like it's a new season, and you never know what's going to happen. But
yeah.
now we have all these new morphs that I've never worked with, so I'm very excited. Yeah. Like
What are your favorites? Like, what are you most excited about?
all of them. I mean, I don't know. I got no for real. Like I got the Xanthics. We've got
Jim,
the
Jim comes in one day. He's like, Tara, we're getting rid of all the geckos. You can only keep one group or one pair. What are you choosing?
She told me to move out.
Did you hear?
Yeah, exactly.
I talk him into a few pairs though. We couldn't just do one. We couldn't.
Yeah.
There's no way.
You got the lily white. You have an axe lily white that you're putting together or something.
Yeah, but yeah, but that's not. I don't think that's my favorite. Like, I mean, not that it's not, but everybody's
Yeah.
making axe lilies. Like, I want
Well,
to.
what about your burning black spots, your Jimmy?
Oh yeah, my rain. Well, yeah, that's a new project for me too. So usually I do yellow based ink blot dowels or the orange base. I like the lighter bases. I don't
Me
really
too.
usually like the red base, but we have a red spot project with red and black spots. I like the ones with just red spots, but they're not as fun as the red and black spots together for me. So
Yeah.
we have a project that we're doing this year with a red and black spot project, and it's not a red base. It's like a salmon color base gecko. So
Mm.
yeah, they're really pretty, and I'm really excited about them too. But
Yeah, I see what happens is that the
no,
what is he saying?
he's
I thought you said you got the first.
not from that pair yet.
Oh no.
I didn't get the eggs from them yet.
Oh no.
Oh,
We
okay.
we stagger our pairs like how well I stagger them. I say we, but he helps me. But I'm the mastermind behind all this. Anyway, so I stagger my pairs. I don't, and it has partially to do with work too. I don't have time to put everything together all at once and
Yeah.
whatever. But anyway, so yeah, so we're still pairing geckos up until probably the end of May, and then it tapers off. I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do some late pairings, but I don't care if I don't get eggs until the next season. And that pair just stays together until they lay eggs. That's pretty much what I do.
Gotcha.
But
Okay, so when you pair them up, you have them lay like give you fertile eggs, and then you separate them, or you just keep them together for the rest of the season.
sometimes I work it like that. I'll leave them together until I get the first set. Depends on how in demand the male is.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So if he has you know, 4 or so females lined up for the season, then I'll let him have like I don't transfer him immediately. Like usually I'll let him be in there for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I transfer him. As long as everybody's getting along, there I don't rush it. I've got so many projects going on that
Yeah,
yeah, I just go on to the next project. They just have to be getting along. You know, I monitor that pretty closely. But they, for
yeah,
the
yeah.
most part, they do. They get along well.
Yeah, 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 same. Yeah, well, we do it differently. We keep groups.
Mm,
So I have my groups together all year round, unless I'm thinking of separating, a male to put up with a different female, or a female with a different male. But for the most part, they're together all year round. And I only separate them if there is like issues, like if I see an animal get bullied or whatnot. Um, Okay, so you still didn't give me an answer. You still didn't tell me what if you could only pick one. Give me top three.
all right. So my top three would be definitely the Dalmatians. I love those.
Okay.
Definitely some of my that Falk York stuff. Because if I just pick that one breeding group with the brindles and stuff, I also get tigers, phantoms.
Yeah,
So really, I get a bunch of stuff out of that group. So I would definitely keep them.
yeah.
And I still am I am a high cream person. I love those projects that make a lot of high cream, even though it's not as much base color, but I do. I love the high cream projects. But then I think I have to keep some of the morphs too. I can't.
Oh,
I
what?
just no.
What are
I
you
did. I
talking?
just named no. But I just named only the normals. I
Yeah.
have to. I would have to do some morph stuff too. But I don't know which one's my favorite yet because I haven't made any of those yet,
Yeah.
other than lilies. So this.
Li- I think lilies are the best. I think because of the lilies, you interact like if you put them to cappuccinos, they make something cool. If you put them to sables, they make something cool. If you put them to reds, they make really bright reds, yellows, bright yellows. So I
Yeah.
think lilies the key to like most of these other mores. Like, but yeah, I hear you. It's a hard it's a hard choice for sure.
Yeah. It is hard. I think
Um,
I think out of the newer morphs though, you asked probably what's my favorite. And even though I want to say Xanthic, but I don't they're like, you know, Korea's making better ones than we are right now. So I
yeah.
can't say that yet because I'm gonna say I love the Frappuccinos. I just wish that I think we need to work on their crest structure. And I like the tricolor ones. Like I like when that orange doesn't quite fade out. I don't know, did they stay like that? I don't know enough about them. Like, did they stay
No.
like that into adulthood? No.
No. So I've seen some people post like young adults that keep that orange, but my like guess would be that
It's gonna
in
fade out.
5 years it fades out, because what cappuccino does, at least from my experience, it strips that orange pigment and
Mm,
it makes it brown. You see that with, that's why you get that head stamp with when you have it with the fraps and you see the frosted crest, is because typically that orange color is in the middle of the head
yeah.
and towards the snout.
I love the
And
I love that look, that fringe
oh,
around the head.
I love
Love
that
that.
too. Do you remember years ago, like whoever could make that in a normal gecko was like God. Like
Yep.
that was like
Yep.
the coolest thing ever.
Do you remember? I don't know if you're gonna remember her name. Her name is Jennifer Lorian.
Yes, of course. Of
Okay.
course, I
She,
remember Jennifer. I
yeah,
still have her
she,
on Facebook.
yeah, I think her geckos, she had a lot. I think she actually had sables and nobody knew it. And
Yeah,
I know because I even showed Gabby a picture because I have a picture saved in my phone of one of a few of her geckos, and she said that's a sable. And I'm like, do you know how old this picture is? It's
yeah.
from like it's from like 2000. probably 12 or 13. And
Yeah. So do you still have that picture?
I do. I'll send it to you. I have to find it again, but I'll find it.
Okay, yeah, I would love to see it. I remember Jennifer. Was she like? Did you see that gecko in person? Was she
I never
by
saw in
you?
person, no. But I remember her having several of them. But I think she had like at least three. But they were those black and white versions. It was like, not.
Yeah,
It didn't have. They weren't tricolor, but they had the
yeah,
white fringing around their crests, and they
yeah,
had, they were. I'm definitely gonna send you a picture because I sent
yeah.
it to
Well,
Gabby and she's like, "That's a sable."
yeah, I would love to see it.
Crazy. Hmm.
Apparently the sables came from obviously Gecko Haven. Cindy was the one first who started like producing
Oh
them and
yeah, I
stuff.
know
But
Rialto. Yeah, but they had to
yeah,
come from somewhere because she got
no. So
Rialto from
That's
somebody.
what I'm going to tell you. She got them from Gorgeous Gecko in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly, Lucas, Kimberly
Yeah,
something.
Lucas. Yeah, it was Lucas.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so Kimberly Lucas in Texas, Gorgeous Gecko.
Yep.
She got those geckos from her, the ones that ended up being sable. And the first like sables looked very, very cappuccino.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Rialto was like when she figured out it was something, but Rialto's mom, I think it was, looked like a cappuccino.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
I
you know what
remember.
I'm talking about? So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
interesting. That a little bit gecko nerd history there for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
um, what was that?
Uh, I was just gonna say, so definitely these morphs, like these new morphs, have really been around, but nobody knew. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I
think
mean?
people,
Like,
especially when the lily whites came out and then the cappuccinos, people started paying more attention and like, oh
mhm.
wait, there started being more like attention to detail and looking at every project under a closed like eye. I had a friend that he would talk to me about this. He'd be like, there has to be something in the genetics. There has to be like back in the day when we were just, popping out pinstripes and harlequins and stuff.
Mhm.
And I was always like, damn, man, he's crazy. Me and Manny would talk about it like, damn, Matt's crazy. And he fucking popped out some Axanthics, like not
What?
related. Yeah, he popped out some Axanthics because apparently he could see the head, visual head, whatever. Anyways, he popped out some Axanthics, and if you've heard of the obscurial
Yeah,
Axanthic,
yeah, yeah.
okay, so those are from my buddy Matt that was here in
Okay.
Florida. That he was like, he would just always tell me like, dude, look at these geckos, man. You have something here, and I'm like, bro, it's just a harlequin, man. But he
That's
was onto
pretty
something,
cool.
and
Yeah.
that's how he's been like, I guess, popping up all these things. I mean, if you think about it, like those cappuccinos, the first couple cappuccinos, I would have
Because
looked
they
at
look,
those. I would
I
have
was
been
gonna
like,
say they look like wholesale gag. They do.
they quite literally were wholesale geckos
Right.
from Reptiles I Mac.
But then once you
But
know what to do with them and how they're that's an actual gene and how it works, now people are making them beautiful. We just got
yeah.
to work on their crest structure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that Ruby Reptiles had pretty nice head structure though.
Yeah,
I'm
she
not
did.
gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
So it's
excited about that one.
possible. I'm excited
Yeah,
about all the what's to come.
yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see. So Tara, last question I have for you is I wanted to ask you about your experience with Gold Standard Gecko Club. I wanted to ask you what your honest criticism is, what you like about it, what you think could be better, and moving forward. I know. So I'm going to be doing these all over the country. The next one we're doing is actually going to be in Daytona Beach, Florida, at this August at the National Reptile Breeders Expo. It's a much bigger show, so I expect a lot more entries. But what has your experience been so far with the Gold Standard Gecko Club, and how can we make it better?
I really love it. I just wish more people would do it. That's how you can make it
Yeah,
better. You got to
yeah,
get more people. That's why I was so uh,
yeah.
I
Emotional.
knew, yeah, I was emotional because I knew that the Harlequin one was completely filled.
Yeah,
And I really honestly looked at a few of them and I'm like, oh, they're better than mine. And I really didn't think I was going to win actually either category because You know,
Yeah,
the other
the
Dalmatian that
Dalmatian.
was there had a very nice crest structure, but
The-
mine's a female, so I was like, I don't know if that. Do you think that's? I guess it's fair. You just, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. But
eh,
I think males sometimes have, even though some females have really nice crest structure, I think it's easier to get it on a male than it is a female.
Maybe. I
Usually.
definitely think males can have a bigger head for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And you know what? Manny also told me, he was like, it's like it's hard because some females don't have the same, there, he was asking me like, are we going to hold them to the same standard? Da, 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 da. But, but yeah,
Technically,
no,
I guess you should. I mean,
yeah, no, yeah, we do. But, it is an interesting, point of view and topic that
mhm.
we need to explore. So we need more contestants.
Yes, more contestants. I want
Yeah.
more of a challenge. Not that it's not challenging. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah,
I like the competition. I like to,
I could tell.
I do. I don't like to lose, but I want the competition there.
I like that.
I don't want it to be an easy win, like, oh, well, you were the only one in that, what, like,
Uh,
I mean, we've seen that happen, right?
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
only
yeah, yeah.
one, so you have to be the
Right,
first place, right? So
right.
I don't know.
We do have a set like so if for example, if there was only one gecko in a particular category, but it scored under 60 points, um like for the judges, then
You
we
wouldn't even
wouldn't
give
give the
them
trophy.
that time.
So luckily I would hate to have to do that,
I know,
but
right?
we haven't had the need to do that yet. But yeah, that is one of those things that I had to when I was like, brainstorming about everything. I was like, well, what if there's only one gecko and like it's really a bad looking gecko? Like, I don't want to give out the prize, like the
Yeah.
trophy. So I had to come up with like, okay, what's fair? Like, what could we do there? So yeah, so if the gecko scores horribly, it's not gonna get the trophy, unfortunately.
Okay.
So
Well,
whoever
no,
got
that's
the
good. That's good. I don't want to participation
exact participation
participation
trophy.
trophy. I don't want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, trust me, that's not what we're about. That's not what I'm trying to do. But you know what's funny? So the Dalmatian category, you guys were, I think the difference was like 2 points or something. It was like crazy. Like you like edged that one out, and they're both incredible geckos. When I saw them both, honestly, I wasn't sure who was gonna win, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like I liked your gecko's clean base color. I
That's
think the color was better, but
yeah. That's why
her gecko's, I don't know. It was a hard pick.
it
It was,
was. I can see how it was hard because I was like, oh, this is gonna be tough. But yeah, I work for that clean base, and I was hoping that people would see that
yeah, that's.
like it would shine through.
I think that's what edged you over is because that contrast when you make that clean base and
I have her right here.
that bright yellow. You do. You want to pull her
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
Let's
I
see
thought
her.
you were gonna ask me about this.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's see him. There she is,
So I have her.
the champ.
Yep.
So did you bring all of them?
Well, I have
This
Falcon here too. I
Falcon.
didn't bring all of them. No,
Okay, okay.
just the two recent ones.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. So I
her.
love to see her here. Takamachi, right?
Yes.
Takamachi. Okay,
If
I
that's
love
how we
that.
even say it, I don't know. They're named after dice games, and it maybe it's called
It's
Takamaki. I
pretty.
don't know, but
Yeah, it is pronounced differently. She's
it
awesome
is.
though.
Thank
The
you.
contrast is great, and just the overall like how the spots are spread all around her are really good.
Exactly. That's why I was like, I really loved her. Yeah, she's one of my favorite productions.
And how like funny that I mean maybe you did this on purpose, but that those are the two geckos on your banner. And
I didn't do it
I'm
on
like
purpose,
I'm
really.
like you're really putting pressure on yourself there, Tara.
I know. I was like, that's another reason why I was so happy that they won because I was like, if I had two losers on there, that's not a good look, right?
Now you just gotta remake the banner, but put the little trophy in there.
The reason I picked them though is because I love working with the Dalmatians and I
Yep.
love working with the Brindlequins, and I think he is one of my best because and I love big heads, right?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you can't look
He
at him.
had
He
yeah,
has like
he's massive. It's
it's
so like
it's so triangular or something. Like
yeah.
but it's so perfect, like because it doesn't flop. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's not floppy. It's a nice, like it holds its own, you know, and that's
Yeah,
what I like
so
about that too.
that is something that a lot of people were asking me about, and they were talking because back in the day we would like love. I mean, I still love that look of the floppy
I think
crest.
it's cute, but I don't want to breed for that because I don't think that I think structure should be able to hold itself.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And here's another thing to think about. As these geckos age, so that it looks nice and floppy the first like couple years. As
Yeah,
it age, it starts to fold over
it
more and
does.
it pulls on the top of the head a little bit more. So
Yep.
it makes the
And they
skin a little bit more like saggy.
it's like a rain like a what do they call those rain hats or something? Like I don't know, it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
reminds
yeah,
me of something
it's like this.
like
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
So when people say like, well, it's a floppy head, like we love floppy heads, I'm like, yes, but this is one of the reasons why every single judge that we picked had to have at least 10 years of experience, because unless you have seen geckos for that long, you might not even realize that that happens.
Right.
So, and when we're creating the standard, it's not to say that, those geckos are crap or whatever, but it's
No, they're
like
not. I mean,
we have
they have their place, but I
we
don't
have
think that.
yeah, we just have to find a middle ground, like it can't be too big, but it can't be too small. Like we have to find a
Mhm.
standard that everybody is okay with. And that's
Right.
what we were trying to do. But yeah, so we'll definitely work on getting more people. I feel like I have to keep promoting it, and it's fine. It's the second show ever. I wasn't too worried about it, and it is Flora Fun is a very like niche
Mhm.
community in a niche hobby. So I figured it wasn't gonna have the most entries, but as we move forward and we start putting on shows at Pomona or Daytona, Tinley Park, I expect it to be a larger, you know, a selection of competitors,
Mhm.
and it's going to make the whole thing a lot better. But one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, and I'm also going to talk to some of the other winners, is because aside from putting a spotlight on you as an awesome breeder, I want to promote this thing more, and I want people to get encouraged to put their geckos in there,
Me
because
too.
some people, I've heard this a lot as well, is that they say, oh no, like they feel like they're not worthy. I'm like, listen, this is, especially now we're in the very beginning, you have a good shot at starting with a good foundation, a good base, people getting to know your name, and that's just gonna keep like bubbling, and you're gonna learn more. And this whole thing is about a
Yeah.
hobby. It's it's chill. It's just fucking geckos. I think it's like people are putting too much
Yeah.
stress into it. It doesn't need to be stressful.
The first season, the first year doing this, I was cutting up my own geckos on the Jim will tell you, we're on the way to Flora Fauna and I'm really looking at them I'm looking at them in their cups and I'm like,
This one stinks. This can't.
I said, "No," I was like, you know what? I said, I don't think I chose the best ones because, like, I was like, look at her eyelashes. They're judging on eyelashes. I said, that's something
Yeah.
I never paid attention to. And I was like, that like they weren't totally like a sunshine even,
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
of them were a little, and I was like, oh, why did I pick this? I'm gonna like, I was picking them apart. I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever. I would. But then they ended up winning. But not that they are
Yeah.
not that they weren't nice. I was just like, I saw where I could improve. I was
Yes.
like, I'm
And
gonna
that was
strive for better eyelashes, and I'm gonna strive for a bigger head. And I want them to keep their tails. I don't know. Sometimes you can't help that. I mean, I think she
yeah.
lost it during breeding or whatever. You can't. What can you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't. I
But
didn't even care Falcon this year because I was like, no, he's going into the show, and I'm like, no, he's not touching a girl until the show's over. Now we'll see.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what I tell people. I'm like, they're like, oh, I don't want to pull it away from breeding, but listen, it might be worth it because you
Yeah,
might win. And
yeah.
then it's just gonna make, it's gonna put a little bit more hype behind it.
And the other
Uh,
sometimes the males they get a little skinnier when they're breeding too.
yeah,
Sometimes,
yes,
sometimes they don't. Sometimes they put on some weight, but
yeah,
most of the time, they lose a little bit of weight while they're breeding because I guess
yeah.
they're more interested in mating than eating.
I don't
So,
blame them.
but yeah, I was like, no, I liked
That
the way.
that's why I'm so skinny, Tara. That's why I'm so skinny.
That's why I didn't want to pair him too. I was like, I like how he looks. He's like nice and he's beefy boy. I want to keep him like that for the show.
Yeah,
So,
and honestly, for you even thinking of that is probably why you won. Why you keep winning in the first place, honestly, because most people I feel like don't wouldn't even think of that, you know?
yeah.
And you have to look at not like look a little bit into the future, like have some delayed gratification, start to think about 10 steps ahead. And
Mhm.
I think that you're already doing that. So I want to
He hates to
congratulate you
lose.
again. What was that?
Jim said, I hate to lose. I do,
Yeah.
but you know what? I want it to be an honest win.
Yes.
It's not like, I
Yeah.
want it to be
No,
an honest win. I want,
there's nothing wrong with that. That's the American spirit. That's
yeah.
why we love that. I love to win as well.
Yeah, who
Um,
likes to lose?
I don't know. Losers.
I don't think they like it. Oh,
um,
God.
okay, so I want to wrap up. Tara, thank you so much for coming in here and hanging out with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I love to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. So I appreciate this.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if anybody's wondering, how can they find your geckos? How can they find and get a hold of you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on PalmStreet. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Wharf Market. We're working on our own website now. But yeah, so far, yeah, I've got all those places.
And it's Tara Lee's Krusty's.
Oh yeah, I'll be on Palm Street on Saturday. Jim's advertising
Okay.
over here.
So it's Tara Lee's Krusty's on all other platforms, right?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, Tara, that wraps it up. Thank you guys
All
for
right.
watching. Again, big shout out to the sponsors, Zoomed, Pangea, and PalmStreet. You heard it here. And yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.
All right. See you there. Thank you.
Bye.